All right, started the recording. Welcome everybody to Provider AWS meeting. It is August 20th. Please be mindful of the CNCF Code of Conduct. And let's go ahead and get started. I will share my screen. Okay, so Cyprian had some agenda items and he might not be able to make it. So we'll just go through them. We need a new release. That includes the IPv6 support. Yes, absolutely. I can probably do that today. Or at least get it started today and then finish it up on Monday. This is okay. So that's fine. Next item is, what is the plan to move to beta for CCM and what are the blockers? This is a good one. I was initially, before vacation, I had gotten back to working on ETE tests, and I was initially kind of just without really thinking about it, blocking on getting those up and running to get to beta. But I don't know that we really need, I mean, since most of the code, is a mirror of what is in tree, I don't know if we need the EDE tests up and running before beta, or if we should really just block on GA for those. To me, it seems like the initial sort of ad hoc testing that we've done as we've been using this might be enough to just call the releases beta that we're doing. And then we really get the full EDE suite up and running before we call it GA. And then, so yeah, any thoughts on that, and what else we might want to get done before we call our releases beta?
I mean, historically, alpha, beta, and stable are very fuzzy. And I think if a different project wants to say that their beta releases are, or our beta releases are at that bar, then that's fine. I don't know whether people expect that a beta is a little bit more ready, but I think it's a great forcing function to have that discussion, right? That like when we have a group of different projects, a Kubernetes beta is not going to be the same, is not necessarily going to be the same quality as a KOps beta or a cluster API beta. Like those things are not going to mean the same things. And so it's going to be difficult to assemble.
I think that like what actually matters is, so I'll be doing this release today and or Monday. Should I call, and then the next task that I have related to this is finish the EDE suite. Should I call this next release alpha or beta?
It's up to you, but I would err on the side of alpha until you have some EDE coverage.
Yeah.
But that's my rule of thumb, but it's not necessarily, but yeah.
Okay. That's totally fine. That was my original plan. Is there anything else that we want to block beta on?
I think in the EDE coverage, we should have two tests, one for like clean install and one for the migration install. And when those two are mostly green, then that would be what I would call beta, just because I think that those are the two critical scenarios. But honestly, like, I don't know, like, yeah, I think that's right. I think an upgrade is important. We're not going to be testing that many that much functionality of the cloud provider across an upgrade anyway. So like, it's not like we will actually have PVCs or load balancers that, you know, we check that they continue to exist, but hopefully one day we will have those tests.
Yeah.
Given that, yeah, I don't even know whether it's worth blocking beta on having an upgrade test, because I'm trying to think why it would fail.
Yeah, and what you're checking after the upgrade to kind of verify success. Like, do you base it on whether it can create a load balancer after the upgrade, or like what is your success criteria? But I do think it's something to validate, you know, maybe even just that it starts up or something. But no, I think that's a really good start. Okay, next one. How do you feel about removing the calls to IMDS and instead just describe all instances? This seems an optimization, and that doesn't have much value when the CCM is external. So I think Cyprian is talking about like the you know, getting the node information. I know that the external CCM has a different code path than what would be called in each kubelet, right? So I think the question is, does the, you know, if it's just a kubelet code path, then we definitely can remove it. If it's actually used, there is also when the CCM initializes, I know that there's some kind of a like it initializes an object for its own node. So I think we'd want to look at that and see. I'm not sure exactly what Cyprian is talking about in terms of optimization. So yeah, I would be okay with removing it if it's like purely a kubelet code path.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. I think you're right. I think they used to be separate methods, and they were combined in a sort of awkward fashion, I think. But anyway, they should be separate methods, and the describe local instance, which uses the metadata service, should be a different method from describe some other instance in ideal code land. I might expect there might still be some calls to IMDS to retrieve like what region am I in, for example, or some things like that. But I think we can probably test this by just actually sending once we have the EDE tests, we can just send a PR, or assuming the EDE tests run on PRs, we can send a PR that just panics in the code path under question, just see what happens. Because it shouldn't, I agree, it shouldn't be called. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting if it was called, to know why, whether it was just like a listing all the nodes and we happen to be on that particular node, or whether it's actually like finding out about itself.
Right. Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I know it gets you know, credentials from IMDS, but I don't know if it actually would get anything else. Can't think of anything. But. All right.
Yeah.
Peter.
Right.
This seems like an easy one.
Yeah, I hope so. We're going through all of the KAPS manifests that it manages in clusters and making sure that they are all compatible with Kubernetes 122. I don't think there's anything specific in the project that uses APIs that are being removed in 122, but we're just doing a general pass through. So this is just updating those dependencies. I'm hoping we can get a new tag cut with this so that we can update that in KAPS and start getting it under test.
Okay, yeah, I will take an action item to cut the new tag as soon as possible. Anything else on that? Okay, cool. So yeah, the last one, Justin, I was just looking for video, like previous uploads for this meeting, and I wasn't sure. Like it looks like some of them are uploaded to your channel, but I'm not sure. So I just wanted to mention this, and I'm happy to do the uploads. I just don't know how. I need to figure out like permissions and stuff like that. So maybe we can set up a time to sync on this.
Yeah, that would be great. I didn't realize I had a YouTube channel. So those actually those should also, I think those are the videos that I uploaded, but they should also be in the Kubernetes AWS channel. I can't imagine I have too many subscribers. You never know.
This is probably just me not able to find the videos. So maybe.
Well, I think also I was sort of hoping that they would also get uploaded automatically when we recorded it. This is, I think, but I don't think that they are. This is, I think, the playlist rather than my personal channel. Like, what's on that channel? Oh, God. But yes, that should be where they actually go. We could let's chat later though and figure out how to actually get them uploading in general. But yes, I have been remiss about uploading them because I was hoping it was going to happen automatically, and it did not.
Cool, no worries. All right, I think that is everything for the agenda. Is there anything that anybody would like to add? Okay, so I think we can take a quick look at the backlog. Start with pull requests, and we can sort by recently updated. Wonder if we need a triage. We need to start using a triage label here. Interesting. All right, this looks like it should be a relatively quick verification into whether or not this is correct or not. So I will, looks like I'm already assigned. Cool, I will come back to this. Just picked up a code scanner. Oh, it's pretty cool. All right.
That is a good linter, isn't it? Like that's
Yeah.
that's a clever one.
Okay, so this one was a pull request that I had been working on, use load balancer name for classic ELBs. I think somebody asked if there's still ongoing work. So yeah, I had started, I was just kind of messing around to see how it would work. It's pretty simple to have an annotation that specifies a name. The thing that I just hadn't gotten to was like cleaning up the way that it's written now. I think if you change the name of the annotation, it's just going to abandon the load balancer that it creates. So I wasn't sure if like, you know, I don't know if we want to make sure that we don't do that, I guess.
Do you support editing as well, or like it can only be specified at creation time, the load balancer name?
I think that is a question. I suppose we would, I mean, ideally we would support editing. How does it work on the load balancer controller?
So we use tags. So even if you change the name later, we don't honor it, like because the tags are what we use to associate the load balancers with the resources. So name changes doesn't matter.
Got it. Okay. Well, I don't think we need to go beyond what is supported in the load balancer controller.
It might be tricky though here because we don't depend on the tags, or editing the name might cause a new resource to be created. We still need to think through those.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what the problem I ran into was, is that changing it causes a new resource to be created. So yeah.
We just have to be careful not to leak the old one, right? Because we edited, so we have to get the old name, and so it will be up to the controller. So up to now, that wasn't the case because it was always guaranteed to have like a unique name every time, but that's not going to be the case with this annotation. So
right, and as written, it leaks the ELB, which is why.
okay.
So like I wasn't sure how to store the state, like what the best way of storing the state of like, oh, I created a load balancer and it is equivalent to this new one that I'm about to create, so I need to clean up the old one. I considered things like, you know, something on the service, but I think I ran into issues with just how the existing code is written that makes that difficult. I don't really remember. It was a little while ago, but so I think really just
we don't need to support this, right? If it becomes complicated, like should we even support this annotation?
yeah,
Because I'm not sure like if it would give us any value out of it. Just my thought.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think I was just responding to an issue or something. But yeah, I think we can just point people to the new load balancer controller if it's too complicated. So I'll just comment and say that I'm not currently working on it because of the difficulties. Yeah, I'll think about it a little bit more and close it if there isn't anything that we can do there. Okay, so this is, I think, for the V2 provider. Okay, so Nicole seems to be implementing get load balancer name, update load balancer, ensure load balancer deleted. Okay. Cool. So, I mean, that's going to require a detailed review. So I think that's the new pull requests. Can probably hop over to issues really quick and see if there's anything new that was updated recently. Okay, this one has become rotten. Okay, fine. This is just for custom host names. I think this is a popular issue. Arbitrary subnet selection can lead to inability to sync load balancer.
Is this for CLV?
Yeah. So they added subnets to VPC, I'm assuming after the load balancer was already there. And then the CCM attempted to reconcile and tried to remove. That's interesting. It's definitely...
Yes, I think we actually have a bug. Well, we have a bug that I have no idea how to solve here, which is so there's the bug that we are trying to configure some different subnets on the load balancer, and user some things argues that we should not change them at all, which I think is one issue. I'm not sure I agree with we shouldn't change them, but that's one thing. The other one is if we try to change all the subnets on a ELB, I don't think we can, because we end up like trying to remove them all, which you can't do. You're not allowed to do that. So you can't go to 0. And I think we try to go to 0. And I don't know whether that's, yeah, I think it's because it's in one, it's in when we're only in one zone, you can't have 2 in the same zone, and you can't have 0. So we can't change, as far as I know. I don't know if there's a trick I'm missing, but that's one problem. So those are the sort of 2 problems.
In the auto discovery, like we actually choose one subnet from each AZ, and we verify that there's at least one subnet available. So that should not be an issue for the auto discovery part. And as far as I know, like for CLB, we can edit the subnet, but for NLB, we ignore it after the load balancer is created in the entry code. Because NLB has some temporary limitations sometimes, like where it don't let you edit the subnet. So that may not even be an issue. I'm trying to see like how the customers are running into this particular problem.
So are you saying that, Kishore, that it should be ignoring any subnets if they're in the same zone?
Yeah, because we group by the availability zone, right? So we only, if there are multiple subnet in the AZ, if we auto discover, we sort and we break the ties like using lexicographic order or whether they're internal or not. So we have those things in place to choose only one subnet. So only one subnet will be chosen for AZ. I'm not sure like how we ran into this issue.
I mean, it sounds like they've created multiple subnets and tagged them all, which I think is.
But the IDs are
Not
going to
like-
be different, right? End of the day. So no matter what, only one subnet will get chosen. So.
Yes, and I think the question is, why do they have multiple So I think the user is saying this ELB is already connected to one subnet, so we should leave it be. That's not unreasonable, to be honest, but I think it's not how it works, but it's not unreasonable. And then I think we should also find out that from them, from the user, why they are creating multiple subnets and tagging them all, because normally you have one subnet tagged for internal and one subnet tagged for external, and that's it, if I recall correctly. But you don't have them tagged the same. You don't have multiple subnets, so I think that the question is why they have so many.
Yeah, let me take a look at this issue as well. I will try to understand like how exactly they're running into this. For the load balancer controller, like in the upcoming version, what we'll do is like we'll only assign subnet during load balancer creation and we'll not edit them later. And we do some capacity based choice as well. Like if we only choose subnets which have enough IP addresses. So that's the enhancement. Let me go through this. I will look at it.
Okay. Cool. Okay, yeah, I was also going to fix this. We currently in our, so before we were building, or we were tagging by hand, and I think, or our build automation was pushing a tag that basically looked like just this. And I think based on some changes to the build automation, we no longer push that tag. We always have this kind of date thing in the front of it, which is kind of ugly. So I did actually have a PR open that I think might fix it, but yeah, I need to double check that. So I will do that. Make sure I'm assigned. Okay. Okay. feature request. Yeah, this seems reasonable as long as these API calls have tag on create or whatever it's called, so you can pass tags, which I'm assuming they do.
Yes, this would be great. The only reason we didn't do this from the start is because the APIs at the time didn't offer it, and we had to do a lot of stuff to work around it. And so yes, now that the APIs offer it, we should definitely do this. It's also relatively easy, so it's a great thing for new contributors to work on if they want to.
Yeah. There's a good first issue, isn't there?
Perfect.
All right. Okay, I think we looked at this before. I'm assigned, but I haven't looked at it. But it's basically,
Isn't this the one that we thought was a duplicate of something that was like more helpful, as it were? Or like more obvious? Like there was another one that was very obvious about what it was. Like the person found the problem. And then when we saw both of them next to each other, we were like, oh, this looks a lot like the other one. It was.
But why do they have like ingress tags in there? Like, is that expected if you go up in the description? So they have ingress, and what are they trying to do here with this?
That's a good question. Yeah, is this like a ingress issue, not a CCM issue?
I mean, this is weird,
Attaching
right? It shouldn't be the case unless like the load balancer is not, like the controller is not picking it up at all.
Yeah. But is this? I mean, what?
This is
Like,
clearly the ALB annotation, so I'm not sure why they mix it up here.
Yeah, so should this even be open on the CCM repo? Like, like, is it possible that this is a CCM issue?
The service type is load balancer. So of course, this is what is picked by CCM, and it looks like they're trying to create a CLB, but
Do you think they just like, do you think they just did this wrong?
So these are on the ingress, so they're trying to mix things up. So that's what I'm a little bit concerned about.
Hmm.
Because if you create an
Sorry, keep going.
ingress, sorry about that. If you create an ingress, you want to typically provision an ALB, not a CLB, right? So you'd have to have a different type of setup to expose the applications.
This is where I think, so if you're running Nginx, I agree it's confusing. If you're running Nginx, that you can also have a traditional ELB or NLB, like a layer 4 load balancer, and you use Nginx as your layer 7 load balancer, and
Correct.
That can work. But I agree with you. That isn't what they've like.
But their annotations say that
yeah.
ingress.class equals to ALB, so it has to come to ALB, right? So
that's just, it doesn't seem consistent. So I don't know. It could just be misconfiguration, right?
yes, it's a load balancer, so it's definitely CCM or the controller manager, but yeah,
You're saying,
I'm not getting the clear picture here. Based on
you're saying because they say it initializes classic LB, that they're talking about service with load balancer, but clearly they've provided information about the ingress down here, so they
correct.
might be
So
confused.
for ingress, like you might want to create a node port instead and let the load balancer controller deal with the load balancer. So that's the typical workflow. Because you don't need to expose the load balancer if you're creating ingress, because that's just going to be redundant.
Yeah. So okay. CCM should support ARM64. Okay, that's a totally fair feature request. Let's see, how many more do we want to get through? Let's do like 1 or 2 more. This is mine. This is mine. The next few are mine. I think we can probably just do this one and then tag annotations on service manifest for NLB does not trigger update on AWS. Adding tag annotations on service manifest for NLB does not trigger update. Kishore, is this known?
Deja vu, of course. I remember doing something in the entry provider. So
Okay.
let me see.
Oh, is this the one that we didn't cherry pick?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we had this discussion before. So
yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah, I will. Are these people, let's make sure that they're actually using.
It says Kubernetes version 1.18.3. Would that would CCM apply in that case as well, or?
Did we publish a CCM for 118? We did. Okay, so it is possible that they're using CCM. All right, I'll assign to just, we'll check if this needs to be cherry picked. Upstream. Okay. All right. I have plenty of stuff to do. All right. So I think that's probably good enough for this week. Does anybody have anything else? Issue triage. Anything else that anybody wants to talk about? Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming, and see you all in 2 weeks.
Thanks for listening, Nick.
All right.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.